Alright, Shalom. Before I get started, Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh Shai, Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh Shai, Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh Shai, Kahala Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rachak Wadash. Double honor to the elders apostles of Great Millstone who rule well and teach well, and who are the true leaders of Israel today. Stamp Elder Pastor Tahar on down. I also like to give double honors to the head and the elder of the Man of Israel camp, the Chazak, whom I teach under down here in Greenville, South Carolina. And I also like to give another shout out to you, sincere Akim, you brothers out there that's pushing this word and this truth in all sincerity and righteousness in these last days. All right. And also, by the way, Shabbat Shalom. All right. Today is currently the Sabbath. All right, which is Thursday sundown to Friday sundown. So once again, Shabbat Shalom. All right. And I wanted to do a lesson. All right, I'm coming back to the Spirit and Power Yahweh Shem Shah with another lesson. All right, and I wanted to do this lesson going into this little Edomite baby. All right, this Edomite child. You know, pretty much. You know, I seen a recent, not a recent video, but I seen the video that they talking about. Cause it said 3 years later, he's still mad. He's white, I guess. You know, it was a video he did a while back, you know, pretty much going into, why his skin look like this, why we white, you know, and you know, he basically questioning, you know, why their skin look like that, you know, and that's crazy. He's thinking like that because, you know, he knows, well, I ain't gonna say, well, he knows, you know, deep down, they not supposed to look like that, you know, that's just a curse, all right, the Lord put on them, man. All right, the Lord put that curse on them, man. You know, you can read about that in Genesis, all right, the 25th chapter, man. We're going to read that. All right, well, really, you know, it goes back to Cain and Abel, man, technically. You know, the Lord was going to put that curse on them, you know. And, you know, ultimately, it's a curse to look like that, man, because, you know, first and foremost, the sun don't even, you know, the sun, you know, they can't, they skin, you know, can't take the sun. You know, that's why they get sunburned. You know, that's what, you know, they get the whole sunscreen from. You know, they use a lot of sunscreen, you know, to cover up, you know, them being sunburned, you know. And then you got they women, you know, the so-called white women, they be trying to get tans, man. Because they don't like their skin deep down, you know, but yet they got the nerve to try to, you know, bully us. They try to bully us for our skin, man. You know, the reason they was bullying us for our skin, because, you know, technically they were jealous, you know. You know, they wanted you to hate you for yourself. They wanted you to think white is right. When deep down, you know, they don't even want to be white themselves. You know, but they wanted to put us down and have them, you know, thinking, you know, white is the best thing out, man. You know, and, you know, deep down, you know, like I said, they wishing, you know, they had our skin. They wishing they had our hair. That's why, you know, you got a lot of Edomite, a lot of older, you know, Edomite women. They tend to like to touch, you know, Jake's hair. You know, it's like your damn motorcycle. But yeah, they tend to like to, you know, touch Jake's hair. You know, and be like, wow, you got nice skin and your hair is so nice, and because, you know, they want that, you know. And then you got them, you know, that's why you see a lot of black women, you know, end up missing, because they still in melanin, you know, from the so-called black woman, because they, you know, they're easy targets. But they're still, you know, so-called black women, you know, melanin, all right, so they can, you know, have some type of melanin, you know, in them, you know, because that's all sunscreen is. It's just, you know, fake melanin, you know. So I'm gonna play this clip to show you what this little Edomite baby was talking about. Well, I ain't gonna say baby, but Edomite child was talking about, because he's absolutely right. They're not supposed to be looking like that. The Lord didn't, you know, really, you know, meant for nobody to be white, but he put a curse on them, you know.
This is white people hair.
What is that?
It means that this hair is white.
You are a white person.
I'm not supposed to be white, we're supposed to be black and we're black. This is white people hair.
black, which, there's no such thing as, black. But I understand what he's talking about. We know what he's talking about. Melanated people, man. Because everybody on earth got melanin except for the so-called white race, man. Everybody got melanin except for y'all, man. That's because the Lord put a curse on y'all. The Lord ain't dealing with so-called white people, man. The Lord hates you so-called white people that he ain't even give y'all melanin in y'all skin. You see? Melanin is a good thing, man. Melanin is worth more than gold, man. That's why, like I said earlier, that's why you have these Edomites, killing these so-called black women because they trying to take their melanin, man. Because Esau know the benefits of melanin, man. Esau know the benefits of it, man. But you so-called white people, y'all don't know the true benefits of it, man. Besides these, these higher ups, these elites, So I'm gonna get some scriptures pretty much, going into, the benefits. Not the benefits. Pretty much, I'm gonna get some scriptures going into that. It's a curse, to look like that, man. The Lord ain't set it up for Lord ain't set it up for slop. The Lord didn't set it up, for people to be white, But he had to put a curse on you so-called white people, He had to put a distinction on y'all, man, to let people know this is the wicked, So I'm gonna kick it off with Genesis 25, and it's the book of Genesis, all right, chapter 25, and verse. I'm gonna get straight to the point. In verse 25, it says, "And the first came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau." You see that? And the first came out red. You see that? All over like a hairy garment. So this first one is talking about, all right, reading this, to give you the story, pretty much, Jacob's wife, Rebecca, had twins, and, all right, and those twins was wrestling in her womb, but those twins was two different nations. And it said the first came out red all over like a hairy garment, right? But then later on it says, and then it says, not Slakia. I said Jacob wife. I meant to say Isaac wife, Slakia. Glad I caught myself. But Isaac wife Rebecca, had twins, Slakia. That was my fault. I'm glad I caught myself. The water you have by Shem was shy. But she had twins, and one of the, there was gonna be two nations in her womb. One was Esau, which you just read in 25. All right, the red that was gonna come out all over like a hairy garment. But then later on, it said Jacob also came out. But why it didn't describe Jacob's skin color? It just described Esau, skin color. That's because, during that time, everybody was melanated people. You didn't have no so-called white people, back then. Esau was the first one. That's why I described his color, because it wasn't normal. You see? It wasn't normal. The Lord put that curse on you devils, man. And you have our people trying to envy y'all, man, because y'all made us, down ourselves. Y'all made us say being black ain't cool, being black is ugly, being black is nasty, being black is, whatever, Just because y'all wanted us to, hate ourselves because y'all ain't us. Y'all wishing y'all had what we had. So y'all made us, hate ourselves and made it look like y'all the best. Y'all the good looking people. When deep down, y'all ain't, man. So let's go over to the book of Numbers, all right, chapter 12 and verse. Matter of fact, let's start at verse. start at verse 6. Alright? It says, and he said, hear not my words. If there be a prophet among you, I the Lord will make myself known unto him in a vision, and will speak unto him in a dream. My servant Moses is not so, who is faithful in all my house. With him will I speak mouth to mouth, even apparently, and not in dark speeches. And the similitude of the Lord Yahweh should be beheld. Wherefore, then were ye not afraid to speak against my servant Moses? Because, Miriam and Aaron, was speaking out against Moses pretty much, and really Miriam should have hushed her goddamn mouth anyway. She wasn't on no level of Moses anyway. And a woman, she should have even known a woman not even supposed to really, have authority like that, So it says, verse 9, and the anger of the Lord Yahweh was kindled against them, and he departed. And the cloud, put this on mute. It says, verse 10, and the cloud departed from off the tabernacle, and behold, Miriam became leprous, white as snow. And Aaron looked upon Miriam, and behold, she was leprous. Now let's see if it was a good thing for Miriam to be leprous. And if you don't know what leprous is, it's basically, you having a white skin, So let's see if it was a curse or a blessing for her to have that type of skin. Now, mind you, the so-called white people today, they'll tell you it's fine to be white. White is cool. White is right. Right? Now, let's see how true that is. And if you realize a lot of stuff that's white that we use is really bad for you, man. Like white rice, really your teeth not white. They're really brown, like a brownish. It's hard to explain, but your teeth are bone. So your teeth not really truly white. So a lot of stuff that, Esau says white is bad for you, man. A lot of white foods are bad for you, man. Like white sugar. The shit bad for white salt, So anyway, verse 11, and Aaron said unto Moses, and Aaron, was a man of the Lord, by the way, too, But the Lord was mad at Aaron as well, but he didn't curse Aaron. He cursed Miriam, right? And that was Moses' sister, if I'm not mistaken. Verse 11, and Aaron said unto Moses, alas, my Lord, I beseech thee, lay not this slop. I beseech thee, lay not the sin upon us, wherein we have done foolishly, and wherein we have sinned. So Aaron said, hey man, don't put this on me, because he seen what happened to Miriam. So if he seen what happened to Miriam, and he telling Moses not to put that on him, is that a curse or a blessing? That's a curse. He knew that was a curse. He said, don't put this sin on me. So he didn't want those problems. He already knew. Hey man, if I look like this, hey man, the people ain't gonna accept me. Verse 12 says, let her not be as one dead, of whom the flesh is half consumed, when he cometh out of his mother's womb. And Moses cried unto the Lord Yahweh saying, heal her now, O God, I beseech thee. And the Lord Yahweh said unto Moses, if her father have but spit in her face, should she not be ashamed? 7 days let her be shut out from the camp 7 days, and after that let her be received again. And Miriam was shut out of the camp 7 days, and the people journeyed not till Miriam was brought in again. You see that? So she had to be outside the temple, man. Showing you that looking like that is a curse, man. being so-called white is a curse, man. But you'll have people saying, what's wrong with being white? It's a lot of things wrong with being white. And then you got a lot of our people that envy these so-called white people to at the point they bleach their skin. They put that blonde weave in their head, right? Pretty much envying the oppressor, man. You see, this little Edomite baby, Edomite child, he don't even want to be his skin color, and technically, that skin color, that skin color that he is so-called white, he can get hella benefits for being that skin color, but he don't even want to be it because he already know that ain't the trend, man. That ain't the trend, So that little Edomite child, man, hey, he in the spirit of like, damn, I shouldn't be looking like this. It's a shame for me to look like this. You see? Anyway, let's get this last precept, then we're gonna close it. It's the book of Leviticus, chapter 13 and verse 9. And I'm gonna read down to verse 11. It says, when the plague of leprosy is in a man, then he should be brought unto the priest, and the priest shall see him. And behold, if the rising be white in the skin, and they have turned the hair white, and there be quick raw flesh in the rising, it is an old leprosy in the skin of his flesh, and the priest should pronounce him unclean, and should not shut him up, for he is unclean. You see that? So if you look like that, you unclean. So, and you got a lot of our people. And I ain't gonna say a lot of our people, but you got some of my people that actually have, leprosy today. They'll call it albino. That's what it's called now. But in the scripture, it's called leprosy. But like I said, it's called albino, man. Our people, where they, their hair be blonde, their skin white, and it just look funny, man. Matter of fact, I don't know how to spell it, so albino. I'm gonna just look up leprosy scan. And leprosy don't look like that, man. Esau, change it up, man. You seen what the scriptures say. If his skin be white, that ain't leprosy, man. Leprosy is like this is albino people. You can tell he's a so-called black man, but he look white. The Lord stripped him, from his melanin. You see, it's a curse to look like that, man. So you should be glad that you so-called black, man. You should be glad that the Lord, gave you melanin in your skin, because now you will look like this. This is a curse. This is a curse to look like this, man. And you got some of my people that look like that, man. So yeah, man, this little Edomite child, man, hey, oh shit, it went away. Fuck it. But yeah, this little Edomite child, man, hey, he in the spirit, man, to know he's not supposed to look like that, man. But anyway, Lord, when this video was edifying, I'm gonna close it with giving all praise and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Rechakodash, double honor to the elders apostles of Great Millstone, who rule well and teach well, and who are the true leaders of Israel today. Stop Elder Pastor on down. And double honor to the head of the elder, the man of Israel camp, the Chazak, whom I teach under, down here in Greenville, South Carolina. And Shalom to TCC Akim. Shabbat Shalom.